Hey everyone, if you've ever just stared at a graph on the SAT and felt your brain start to, short circuit, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to flip the script on this whole thing. We're going to treat these questions not as some test you have to take, but as a game that you can absolutely 100% win. So you ready? Let's break down the first rule of the game. Okay, this is the number one rule. You gotta burn this into your brain. Every single line, every bar, every little dot on an SAT graph is there for a reason. Your job is to figure out, is this a clue that's leading me to the right answer, or is it a trap? The second you start thinking like a detective trying to solve a case, trust me, the entire game changes. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll set the board. Then, we'll meet the 5 main opponents you're always going to face. After that, we'll master the rulebook, learn how to dodge all their cheap shots and traps. And finally, we're going to unleash some pro-level hacks to make sure you claim every single one of those points. First things first, I want you to totally forget about complex calculus or any super advanced algebra. The SAT uses graphs to test one thing, your ability to spot patterns and think logically. And look, those are skills anyone can get better at, and that's exactly what we're going to do. It's not a math test, it's a visual logic puzzle. That's it. Okay, so in any game, right, you've got to know who you're up against. On the SAT, you're going to face 5 main types of graphs. Let's meet them one by one so there are absolutely no surprises on test day. First up, the line graph. You've seen these a million times. They're all about showing how something changes, usually over a period of time. What the SAT really wants to know is, can you read this story that line is telling? Is it going up? Is it going down? By how much? And it all comes down to one really key idea, the slope. Next up, bar graphs. These are for comparing different groups, like sales numbers for different stores or maybe poll results for different candidates. The SAT loves to ask about percentages or ratios here. And here's a huge tip, tattoo this on your brain. Always, and I mean always, check the scale on the axes. That is a classic trap. And our third opponent is the good old pie chart. These are super straightforward. They just show you parts of a whole, almost always in percentages. The questions will usually have you comparing the size of different slices or maybe adding a couple of them together. It's really just about how different pieces make up the whole pie. Simple as that. Now we've got scatter plots. I know, at first glance, they can just look like a random mess of dots. But they're really only about one thing. What's the relationship between 2 different variables? Look, your job here is not to get lost in all those individual dots. Just kind of squint your eyes a bit and see the big picture. Is the cloud of dots generally moving up, down, or is there no pattern at all? And finally, the function plot. Yeah, I know, it's just a fancy name for a graph of an algebra equation. The whole f of x thing can look intimidating, but don't let it freak you out. You don't need to solve some crazy equation, you literally just have to read the picture. Find the landmarks. Where does it cross the axes? What are its peaks and valleys? That's where all the points are hiding. All right, so you've met the bad guys. Now it's time to master the rulebook. These are the fundamental skills that work on every single graph question, no matter what type it is. Get these down and you're already halfway to winning. So let's kick things off with one of the biggest concepts they test, slope. And honestly, the idea is super simple. If the line goes up as you read from left to right, that's a positive slope. It means the value is increasing. If it goes down, it's a negative slope. It's decreasing. That's it. That's the core story every line graph is trying to tell you. Okay, so this is your official playbook. Number one, always, always read the axes and units. Are we talking about millions of dollars or just dollars? Years or months? Huge difference. Next, try to identify the pattern. Then, practice comparing specific points. And this is a big one. Get good at estimating. The SAT often builds questions where a smart estimate is way faster and safer than some long drawn-out calculation. And finally, just double check if they want the x-intercept or the y-intercept.
Okay, now for my favorite part. Let's expose the test makers' tricks. These people love setting little traps to catch you off guard. But once you know what they are, they become almost ridiculously easy to spot and just step right over.
So you see a graph, right? It looks totally simple. The question seems like a piece of cake. But wait, hold on a second. This test is designed to be tricky. So before you jump on an answer, you have to ask yourself one thing. Where's the trap? Okay, listen up, because these are the top 4 traps they're going to set for you. Number 1, the graph isn't drawn to scale, so it tricks your eyes. 2, a trend looks like a perfectly straight line, but it's actually a curve. 3, they'll ask for a percent change when your brain is thinking about the raw number change. And 4, they might show you cumulative data like total sales all year when the question is actually about one specific month. You got to check. All right, you know the rules, you know the traps. Now it's time for the cheat codes. These are the pro hacks that are going to give you a serious edge in both speed and accuracy come test day. First one is for line graphs. Seriously, forget plugging numbers into that clunky slope formula. Just pick